What is the secret of Cleopatra's eternal youth? How the last queen of Egypt came to power, and how she might be associated with aliens. Watch The Throat for the end, and you will find out. Today I will tell you exciting details about Cleopatra's life, as well as an extraordinary theory related to Egypt. Cleopatra is one of the most famous and influential women in Egypt, devoted many films and books to her life, but few know who she is. Indeed, she came from the descendant of one of Alexander's great generals who had ruled Egypt open for centuries. When she was very young, she noticed how cruel the Romans were, and that's why her constant idea became the revival of the Greek-Egyptian. But before anything was revived, she had to get power, and that was not easy for her in her case, because she could only rule with a co-ruler, and her brother must be in accordance with the laws, and that's what happened. She had to go to extreme measures and enter into marriage with him. This is not the end of difficulties for her. It turns out that she needs to have relationships with Egyptians. Cleopatra began to implement financial reform, and everything became so smooth that locals began to suspect that she knew how to make gold. We don't know if that's true, but everyone knows what happened next. Cleopatra's brother grew up and expelled his little sister from the leadership position and took the throne himself. But Cleopatra is not the kind that readily surrenders, gathered an army using other resources available and fought the battle. No one knows how it would have ended if Rome had not entered the conflict, and a civil war broke out there too. Former friends Caesar and Pompey did not share power, and during their battle Pompey fled to Egypt, where Cleopatra's brother met and killed him. He relied on Caesar's credit and gratitude for such an act, but this increased his anger, so Caesar decided to subordinate rich Egypt to Rome. Cleopatra looked at it from the outside and realized that she had no choice to fight the Tsar and no point grabbing power from her brother. She had to be an ally, and so the girl started to develop a relationship with the Tsar, and it was going great. They fell in love and did not separate, and the Roman ruler was impressed by its beauty to the extent that he erected a gilded statue in her honor. It was good, but you must understand that from Cleopatra's point of view, the main meaning of this was the interest of the country. A few years passed and the Tsar was eliminated, leaving the girl in the role of the unified ruler of all of Egypt. She had nothing left to do, and she had to come up with a new plan, a plan in which Mark Antony was the main participant. It was important to impress him, and to do so she arrived at the Roman commander on a ship, luxury, under the logo of the goddess Aphrodite. This is shown in books and movies. She skillfully used Antony to strengthen and protect her country, and thanks to her diplomatic talent and Antony's forces, she was able to maintain her power and also to expand it significantly. But in addition to strengthening its position in power, the opposition became more widespread and began spreading rumors about the great ruler. It was said that she was testing poisons on her servants to check how quickly they would lose their minds. This was not certain, but no matter how strong the hatred of envious people was, she still carried her burden with pride. In the end, of course, Rome defeated it, and this was the final point after which it invaded Egypt. Nevertheless, Cleopatra continued on her way proudly. But how did Cleopatra do that? This is the most important question. You might think that the secret lies in her amazing beauty, which conquered everyone she met, including the rulers who were difficult to surprise, but it was not like that. On the contrary, it is said that there was nothing feminine about Cleopatra except her body and her cunning, and she was wise and thoughtful in the interests of the state or its personal interests. She was very selfish and independent. They said she was short and a little overweight. She has dark skin, narrow lips, and a large, broad nose. In general, it is clear that it's not beauty that amazes every person she meets at first sight. It's likely that she has achieved everything because of her amazing personality and wisdom. Cleopatra's beauty routine is shrouded in legend. One famous story claims she bathed in donkey milk. Donkey milk does contain beneficial nutrients, but there's no scientific evidence to support its use for bathing. Modern scholars have realized that these milk baths give a rejuvenating effect, and some rose water was added. She also invented a scrub made of salt, straw, and honey, and it is also believed that she is the one who invented hair removal with wax. However, she did not do it with wax as we do, but with a secret solution of resins. As I said, Cleopatra was an excellent conversationalist, and she could calm people with whatever they wanted to hear intensely. In addition to her excellent speaking skills, it is believed that she was well versed in different languages. It is said that she knew 7 of them, so she rarely needed translators. She could communicate with anyone interesting, using her feminine charm to its fullest potential. She was very intelligent. Do you remember how she got to Rome and became friends with Caesar? Well, it wasn't easy. The problem was that the angry Roman crowd would recognize the great Egyptian ruler and she would not be safe. She devised a plan and arrived. Her companion traveled by boat to the capital, carrying a concealed object disguised as luggage. She approached the palace, unclothed. This nudity, combined with her cunning, greatly impressed the Tsar. Despite her attempt, the Tsar resisted. He obeyed without realizing her intentions. Even the intelligent succumb to persuasion at times. All things have an end. This is our nature, and she was no exception. But it is still difficult to understand exactly how she died, at least because her grave has not been found to this day. And I am also surprised by that. I mean, literally every known ruler in Egypt has been discovered, even those who ruled much earlier and were less respected. There are many stories about her death, but here are some of them. They all begin with this beautiful and amazing speech that she gave shortly before her death.
These wrists were made to wear jewelry and shackles. For the commoners and the criminals, the Queen of Egypt will never be defeated.
On that day, she held a grand feast and went to her room without participating in it. One story says that her former employee attacked her by cleverly pulling a pin from her hair and sticking it into the queen. The pin, as you understand, was not ordinary, but was filled with poison that Cleopatra herself had invented and tested on her servants. According to another theory, the maids brought a basket of figs where there was a poisonous snake, either intentionally or by mistake. The ruler wanted to have a snack, but by lowering her hand, she provoked the snake and received a fatal dose of poison and died immediately. It is unfortunate that people do not know what really happened. Or regardless of the stories, it is not certain what exactly happened. And you must admit that it is very strange not to have found her tomb yet. Even with the help of modern devices that discover rooms and tunnels underground and other sites,